Yes, please. Yes, I'm Hoffmann Geert-Dietger. Everyone calls me Diddy because no one can pronounce it. This presentation was created at Linux Tag in Germany because Dag and me sort of played around with the Wii, and so we thought we could actually use this as a presentation tool. And so we sat together, and the internet, wonders of the internet made WePress, the project, possible. So it's sponsored by Field Commander, yes. Me, I'm Diddy. I'm a software engineering student at Bournemouth University. I worked at quite a few companies. I always work, go back to uni, work, sort of. And my email address, if you've got some questions, if you, don't know, want to ask me something. If you're in Bournemouth, come and visit me. What am I going to talk about? Basically, the whole thing is about this. And this is a Wiimote. It comes with a Nintendo Wii. It was, lots of newspapers say it was the most innovative new user input thing developed. And so basically, it's amazing. And so we're going to say, what is it? What can it do? Why? Why should we use it? Obviously, you can use it with a Wii, but why use it with Linux? So we say Linux and the Wiimote. How do we interact with it? What can you do with it? Then I want to explain how it works by a tool we wrote on giving a presentation. Because obviously you can buy these presentation sticks, these little USB or whatever, and they don't work, you run around, and they're 200 euros. You can get them 50 euros to 200 euros. This, you can get off eBay for a tenner. I bought one for a tenner off eBay. And you can use it. It's got all the functionality. I'll demonstrate that. And it's Bluetooth, so it's wireless. And I'm going to demonstrate a little bit, so you can actually see something. And then you can ask some questions. And what is a Wiimote? Basically, this is a Wiimote. This is an upchuck, just to get stuff defined. It's an input device. Literally, it is an input device, but it has output capabilities. It can rumble, it can shake. It has a speaker. It's got LEDs. And that's pretty much it, what it can output. But you input most of the time. So, the features. It's vibrating. Last time I gave this presentation, he said, that's your girlfriend, isn't it? And everyone cracked up. It vibrates.
What is this, isn't it?
We clarified this yesterday, didn't we? Is she 12? Sorry. Sorry, inside joke. It vibrates. This thing, it rumbles. It's got motion capturing, it's got motion censoring, so I'll demonstrate it. If you do this, it will actually notice it. It's got infrared camera, and this is very cool. You might have seen this video on the internet where a guy does this 3D stuff and he's got multi-touch and all that. This uses this camera. That's nothing new. It's an infrared camera. You can build that out of every box standard webcam. But the good thing is, it's wireless, and it's a very good one. It's got a tilt sensor, so it knows, am I rolling it? What I'm using. Typo. Sorry about that. It's got a tilt sensor. It knows if you roll it, if you do up, down. And we actually, at the first stage for using this as a presentation, we wanted to have the mouse pointer with the infrared bar. So basically what happens if you try to use it as a mouse, or how the Wii does it, you have this infrared bar, and it's got LEDs, infrared LEDs here and here. And basically what it does, the infrared camera knows the LEDs, and because it knows the space of the LEDs, it knows this is fixed, so it knows how far they should be, so it knows how far the thing is away. It knows if you're moving it.
It also knows the angle because the size of the
exactly. LED. Basically, if you would look at it like this, this LED surely will be brighter than this LED. So it knows basically how angle. It shouldn't know how it's that angle, I think. But it knows if you're holding it like this, through the tilt sensor and through the LEDs. It's got buttons, lots of them. It's got one here, everywhere. It's got LEDs, 4 at the bottom. And it's got an EEPROM. And what I actually did in my Wiimotes, that I left at home, and I put my address on it. So if I forget my Wiimote at a friend's house, or I lose it or whatever, I can prove it's my Wiimote. I go up and say, look, the EEPROM, it's programmable, I put my address on it, that's me. Or you can put whatever you want in it. A friend actually suggests...
Why not buy a new one?
You could, but it's cooler like that. A friend of mine thought he would put his SSH key on it, and he could use his Wiimote to authenticate. So at my old place at CERN, the computers had Bluetooth. So he walked around with his Wiimote and had his SSH key on it, and he authenticated over Bluetooth with his SSH key. So as soon as he left the room, his SSH key went with him. Whoop. So here a little summarization. If you've never, has everyone seen a Wiimote? No. I'll pass one through the audience, then you can all touch it. And actually, the covering is so it suits my shirt, and that's the whole coolness factor. So basically, you've got the buttons. You've got, as you can see here, you've got the home button and whatnot. And you've got the whole tilting, so it knows the pitch, the tilt, and it's got the whole motion sensing thing. So, I gave a talk on tech yesterday, and I noticed quite a few techie people here. So, the protocol is very easy. It's reverse engineered. It's not fully reverse engineered. I'm still playing around with the sound, and I've been doing it for half a year now, and I can only get it to beep a few times. But it's very easy. Basically, this is switch LED 1 on. This is the control character for LED. This is LED 1. That's all you have to send to the Wiimote, and it will say, oh, LED 1 goes on. It's well documented. There are loads of people in the world who try and do, and there's this wiki page, and everyone updates as soon as he finds something. But lots of documents, people start this, they say, oh, it's funny, they do it, and then they stop doing it. So there's actually not really a maintained library or something. We're starting to, or want to start this. The Wiimote and Linux. Basically, what we want is to use this with our Linux. It sort of works with OpenBSD for the OpenBSD developers. But I don't have time. OK, so there are 4 main applications, libraries, and pretty much all of them are unmaintained. That's a bad thing. So if someone has time, I'm happy to donate a Wiimote for him to develop, and if someone wants to do that. So how did we come up with the stupid idea of using this for a presentation? Surely you can use it for a game. You can use it for Quake. I know someone who runs and then shoots, and I don't know. But why use it for a presentation? When I lectured at university, these presentation things are shit. I bought one and it cost me €100, and it was infrared, and the batteries were really small. I had to buy special batteries, so I ended up pointing it at my laptop. It didn't work, and it was shit. So I didn't use it. In the end, I had a wireless mouse. I had a mouse in my hand and pressed the buttons. And then Dag came up with the idea of having this as your presentation device. And it's genius. It's cheap. A tenner. I mean, where can you buy? It takes normal batteries. Where can you buy a presentation device for a tenner? It's known. It's a known interface. If you don't like something, develop it. It's quite simple. The protocol is known. So if you want a really funky feature, develop it. It can rumble. What's very cool, I'll demonstrate something, because timing. You always look at your watch and you always think, oh shit, okay, I've got next and stuff. But I came up, so let's split the presentation in 4 segments. So if I've got a 1-hour presentation, every 15 minutes this thing rumbles. So I'm just standing here, and it will just go bzzz, and I go, oh okay, I've got 15 minutes to go. And the last 10, 5, 3, 2, it will count down. So I know basically if it's going in my hand berserk, I know, okay, come to a point now. I mean, lecture's over. But so it gives you a feeling of how far you are in the presentation. And I haven't found a presentation device that can rumble. That will actually, they've got, the one I bought had a little countdown time on it. But it was so small, I had to look, I looked at it like, yep, okay. So come on, you're standing in front of someone, and you're looking at it, oh yeah, I've got 10 more minutes to go. And you have to calculate it out, and it's stupid. Isn't it easier to just have bzzzt? You know, it makes you look cool. Come on. I mean, and then, if you're really funky, you can shoot your slides. You can sit there, bam, next slide. Or you can get a golf club. Actually, how cool would that be? Giving your presentation and acting like your swing, improving it. And you could actually write a program to see, and you could have a little mark coming that was not a good swing, so I won't change the slide or something. Well, I started hacking this morning using a steering wheel. But it didn't work. I held it in my hand and walked through, and the slides were going back and forth because I was doing this. So I stopped doing that. But if you want to, if you're a car driver and you don't love it, you can give your presentation like that. So there are all these extensions that you can just plug it in. Basically, the wiimote goes in here. So, and the golf club sticks onto it. So you can do whatever you want. If you like shooting your presentation, shoot it. So there's all these extensions for it. It's reliable. I'll go out of the room and I'll change the slide. It's, well, I didn't. It's not connected. It's blinking, so. Yes, it's reliable. So I can walk if you connect it.
We're testing this at Linux Stack in the main room, which is very big. I don't know exactly how big it is, but you have lots of devices in between. I walked around completely, even outside of the building, and I could still change the slides. So it was very reliable, even in a conference room with all the stands, booths, all the devices in between, lots of Bluetooth devices. So that was one of the tests we did to make sure that it was useful for something like that.
All these other presentation devices, they're infrared or something, and you point it and it doesn't work. This is Bluetooth, and it's a good Bluetooth. You can, as far as you've got Bluetooth, it works. And so WePress is a project we started to make all this happen. And we had buttons to advance and control the computer. So I'll demonstrate it afterwards. I'll talk you through it, and then we can do like this interactive demonstration thing. We have the tilt sensor to move the mouse. So basically, mouse down. Actually, I'll present it now.
We wrote two versions. I wrote one based on the WMD.
Exactly.
Which had some, I think you couldn't do some of the things with it, but the basic functionality.
Unable to connect.
And you can't rumble with that library. And it's Python, so it's easier for me to modify. I'm not a very good C programmer. And then Didi wrote something in C based on the C library.
CWID.
CWID, yes. And he implemented rumbling and stuff like that. I used the X mouse pointer by pointing like this to the infrared bar.
But that was shit.
That's a problem, because you walk around with your device and all the lights, in this case it's TL lights, that these don't emit infrared light, but normally when you walk around you get infrared sources everywhere, and so the mouse pointer is
jumping around and it's unusable.
Yeah, unusable, especially because everybody's looking at the mouse pointer instead of what you're saying. But then Didi found something. Yeah.
So, okay, now I need someone. Question?
Can't you adjust the sensitivity of the IR sensor?
No, the problem is, or what I found, I had the IR, and I put it, for example, here, because I was giving my presentation. Well, basically when I don't have the extended battery on it, it works. And the problem is, the keyboard reflects the infrared. So I had thousands of dots, and the main ones were not as light as the reflection, because the tilting, maybe it was a little bit down tilted or a little bit up.
Yeah, and you want that bar below the screen, not below your laptop. You can point at the screen.
Yes.
But you walk around with the device in your hand, and it finds all other sources.
Yeah, right, that's why I asked.
Exactly.
Couldn't show you down.
But the normal light is lighter than the LEDs here.
So we need stronger LEDs on that.
Basically, you'd have to pimp the LEDs. Yes, you'd have to.
Can you adjust the signal strength or the sensitivity of the IR sensor?
Yes, yes, it's possible.
Maybe possible,
but
I'm not sure.
And the distance. If the idea, well, I like to walk around. I like to do this all the time. The problem is when I'm right at the back of the room, this won't see it. It's only about, I don't know. Now it's already tricky. So you'd have to have massive LEDs. You know, you get these LED arrays. I looked at them, infrared LEDs arrays, but don't know, you can power it over USB, but it didn't look professional. I mean,
Have the LEDs blink at specific colors?
No.
no, it's just, I can demonstrate it.
You could create your own sensor bar and that's something like that,
Yeah.
but then it becomes more a hardware
Ah.
implementation.
So now, can you all see the mouse pointer?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Basically, I'm moving the mouse pointer through the tilting of the Wii. I turn it to the left, whoop, goes to the left. Turn it to the right, turn it down, mouse pointer goes down, up. And this is a solution I found to the LED problem, because I was giving a presentation to some work colleagues, and I wanted to move something around, and I was standing there. I actually had the sensor bar underneath the beamer, and I was standing there, and I tried to grab it, and then some light went on, or some blinking of the the blinking of the computer. There was a computer next to it that served something, and the hard drive light was blinking because of some cron job. And that distracted the LED. That somehow emitted infrared light. And it was unusable. I was standing there, my boss was in the crowd, and I was standing there, shit! And it just looked unprofessional. So I thought, why not how often do you really use this, huh? So I can grab this window, if I'm good at it. I'm not. And it doesn't work, yes. Now it works. And I can move the window around if I really want to.
But if you use it a little while, then this is more reliable than the infrared.
It's
because the infrared it's less sensitive. Than
exactly. And yes.
I've tried the same thing, and I've used the mouse and the keyboard interface. The thing I found a problem though was I didn't have an easy way on the wiimote on disabling or enable the mouse, because when you're moving your hands, the mouse starts moving.
Yes, that happened in a presentation that he had this compass stuff where the windows fly around and I don't know. And because I was moving around, I always went to the top right-hand corner and then his window's tiled or something funky. And I looked back and all the windows were flying around and...
So indeed, if you could enable and disable it easily, then
but that's not a problem. I mean, you can just map 1 and 2 to do that.
You could use a LED to
I
see
couldn't find out how to do that.
I can show you. It's very easy. It's 2 lines of C code.
You have to...
Okay.
yeah.
So now another thing, the whole vibration thing. Use one, okay. So who am I going to trust? You, come on, you're the organizer.
Is this with the electrical surge as well?
Exactly, yeah, that's where your hair, the Einstein, I call it the Einstein effect. Do you want the...
Brought your lemon and key case.
Yes, we've got a red one maybe. We can so basically now, just for demonstration purposes, I created a 40 or 1 minute presentation. Could you press 1 and 2 on the Wiimote, please? Exactly. You have to press them together. Yep.
Oh.
And no, that was not quick enough. You've got soft hands.
Yours are well led.
I know. That's what she said. So, is it vibrating?
It was, yeah.
Yes. So now I've created a minute presentation, and it's vibrating. So that's basically the program I wrote, or I use for presentations. So it's vibrated again.
And again and again.
Exactly. So that's a proof that it does it. So then the LEDs. Actually, can I? I thought, okay, but sometimes you just put your Wii down and you don't care about it. You pick it up again and you're giving a presentation, but you still want some optical sort of feedback where you are in your presentation. So the LEDs tell you where you are. So if we go back to the Wii Press again, I hope, can everyone see the LEDs? What, segmentation? Shit. Wait, what happened there?
If you hadn't said it, then nobody would have noticed at the first.
Like I typed in my root password the last time. And, so now you can see 4. It's a 1 minute presentation. Can everyone see it? Yeah. And now it should have gone down 1 LED. So if your 1 hour presentation, it's gone down again, and it's vibrating every time it goes down. And again. So now I know, just by one look, how far I should have been in my presentation and how far the time is.
Yeah. You could even blink it and blink it faster or something like that.
Exactly.
How many LEDs are there?
4.
4.
So
you
it's-
can go up to 16.
In bits.
Yes, if you... I've got a binary watch, And it's always very good if someone asks you for the time and you just show it. That sort of classifies you as an Uber nerd, yes.
You can also rumble in Morse code or something. Yeah?
So, and that, you can come up with whatever you want, really. I mean,
You have a speaker as well, so...
you could get it beeping.
Does the library you use, does it support a speaker?
No, I'm currently in the process of reverse engineering that, and I can't get it to work. Nintendo, I've emailed Nintendo, I've tried everything I can come up with, every encryption, every codec.
But there's a library that does support
It just beeps.
Right, yeah,
Basically what they did, they had a Bluetooth sniffer, they got the Wii to do a beep on it, they took the package and they're just sending the package. They're just sending a hex dump and they don't know what it does.
Have you tried playing around with the hex dump?
Yes, and sometimes it seg faults the wiimote. And,
Does the wiimote react on the same?
it just doesn't react anymore, it doesn't do anything. You have to take out the batteries, wait, and put them back in and it's okay again.
Reboot.
So, I don't know if it runs Linux or Windows or something. So this is very practical. Giving a presentation, looking at it, you know where you are. Stuff that is useful for presentations. Yes, that's all useful for presentations. Some demonstration of this whole thing. And there's a program. I've got no... I was hacking around in it before I came here, so I didn't make it. Can everyone see that? So another thing is, you press 1 and 2, and then it sends it in visible mode, and then you can scan, and it will report to, if you know the Bluetooth stack in Linux, HCI tool scan, and then it will show up as Nintendo Wiimote, and then you can just connect it.
We have a problem with that in the sense that I think the previous presentation there were some people that bought
Wiimotes.
Wiimotes, and the moment you start the program, everybody was
Yes,
pressing
pressing.
it, and then of course you don't know who's got the input device. So we have to do something special.
Exactly. So I started investigating in a secret handshake. Basically, I figured with a little test that when I do a D in the air, the pattern the acceleration sensors do is unique to me. No one in my office could emulate it. I told them, do a D. Watch me do it. Very easy. Come on, I do it. Do it again.
So you can do signing.
And no one managed to get exactly, mine's is pretty unique. I always do it the same. But no of my office mates could do it the same. So I was thinking maybe...
After that night playing squash.
I mean, after the social yesterday, I wouldn't have been able to do a D. But yes, I was thinking maybe something around those lines.
It's to prevent you from giving drunk presentations.
It's like this Google thing where you have to do the math stuff. It comes up with a pop-up, you're too drunk to give this presentation.
It's recorded, it might be.
Exactly.
Where you basically filter out from the
What I did,
Bluetooth device, I think.
yeah, that's what I do now. I give the Bluetooth MAC address, but you can spoof a MAC address. It's not secure. I want something, well, I was thinking maybe a key on the Wiimote, as my friend has a SSH key on it. Maybe authenticate against that, but I haven't had time yet. And there are lots of ideas here. We can talk about this all night. But basically what you can see here is from the main Wiimote, the acceleration. So if I go up and down, you can see the Y is definitely Z, and you've got all the buttons, whatever, home. And you've got the nupchuck. This is this little thing. Has acceleration sensor too. Can everyone see that little dot there? So you see how I'm moving this little device. You've got the buttons again. So now the infrared. So we've got our infrared monitor here just to visualize how strong these LEDs are.
You need to enable it. Yeah.
It's enabled. I just saw.
By default, it's off.
I set it on.
Ah, right, yeah.
Look, I'm right in front of it. There,
If
there.
the signal
Look.
is too strong, it will disable
There we go. So you see the infrared thingies there. If I move the wiimote up, they go down. And can you see the dots? So, and
the 3D stuff actually
exactly.
put this on his glasses.
Exactly.
So
We can demonstrate that actually. I've got that installed. So there we go. But I'm not a big fan of this infrared stuff. I don't know. You can do funky stuff with it, but who would play a game where you put some glasses on with LEDs on them? And
another problem that we had with the infrared is if you want to manage your screen and you want to go to the next workspace, then you're out of reach. You cannot go to the right indefinitely.
You can start laser dome games with it.
There are loads of stuff you can do with it. I mean, really, the ideas, we're going to go through a few of your ideas. Then you see the roll here. So you see the battery life, what's useful, because if you have no battery, you wouldn't notice it, would you? You've got it down here, so you could get it to beep when the battery goes down or something. This is basically as far as the libraries nowadays go in supporting it. So that's WePre. I've deleted VMD because it was not good.
I'm using it all the time.
I use WePre, and it's better.
What's with the black eye?
That happens if you don't put this strap on. There is a reason. In the first V version, this is the second Wiimote revision. And the first, this was not strong enough. And sometimes, if you use it a lot, this would actually break. And that was actually created with a Wiimote flying through the room, according to the webpage.
And then, because that was not sufficient as well, they also had this. So now if you buy one, you get this silicon
rubber thing.
Which has some, I don't know, bumpers here. Or what
So it is dangerous, especially if you're, I don't know, I have it when I play my Wii, I'm like playing golf or boxing and whoop, it's gone. Okay, ideas we had, sort of coming up what we thought might be cool, and the secret handshake, the D or whatever, in theory you could use it to authenticate against your computer. You could do D, don't comment security guys. Wii Fit. The Wii Fit is a balance board, and it has pressure sensors. So it's got 4 pressure sensors. And have you seen, there are videos on YouTube, people doing hula hoop on it, and basically what you stand on it, and it will detect where your weight is. So we were thinking, how cool would it be if you're surfing your slides? Next slide, previous slide. Or you could show you've lost weight. Weight loss over presentation through sweat. Stuff like that. But the Wii board is not supported. It's, I didn't buy one, but there is no effort in having this Linux supported. And I don't have the time to do it. I would love to do it, and I think it's quite easy because it uses a very similar protocol to the Wii. So I think you can just capture it, but I don't have one, so I can't reverse engineer it.
It's useless for presentations anyway.
That would be cool. Just imagine coming, you've got all your students sitting in front of you and you're just standing there, yeah. No, it would be stupid, I know. Movement to advanced. Next slide, previous slide, go up a screen, go down a screen, utterly useless. Because you use it, you've got it in your hands, you do that. Next slide, and you don't notice it. Tried it, I don't use it. But I think people would like it. I think someone would actually like it to have it in his pocket and just do this or something for the next slide. Multi-touch. I wanted to present something like this, but I forgot all my bags at home with all my Wiimote. I thought, how cool would it be to have little infrared diodes stuck under your fingers? 2, I stick 2 just with a battery, 9-volt block battery, under my fingers, and you do this, and it goes to the next slide, and it goes that previous slide. And because it's LEDs under your fingers, you hide them. So you've got them like this, you've got your hands shut in your presentation, but when you want the next slide, you do and so you can just go up and go next slide, and you're just standing there, no one notices it. You've got your hands free, you can hide it, I'm sure you can hide it under your watch or something. You just do next slide. Or how do they do in Star Wars? So multi-touch, you could zoom in, zoom out in midair. You've got a Java program, increase font size. Stuff like that. I mean, whatever you lecture or you want to do in your presentation, of course, you can go to the funkiness stages of, I don't know, having silver pads and you can multi-touch and turn, and I don't know. You can have a 3D cube and turn it. That's very funky, yes?
Have you ever tried something like this with Misty Feed?
No.
Because it would be an ultimate remote control for your television as well.
Hmm.
And Misty Feed is an open source PVR.
But
There's
there are PVRs. I think at Linux Stack there was one of the PVRs. I think it was VCR, Media VCR or something. At Linux Stack next to our booth there was a stand of one of the solutions, and they used the wiimote for this.
Buy one, it's amazing. Sounds. I'd love to have sound in it. That's one of the features I miss in it. I would love, because I could actually use it properly with sound. I could beep myself, and it would be really practical. A local positioning system, and this derived from a test. I hope my boss is not listening. My boss was in the room next to me at work, and I always had to go out of the room, check if he's there. No, he's not. Go back into my room, sit down, and I was pissed off with that. Just for a stupid question. Writing email is stupid. Just, I don't know, I need access to that machine. Just add me to a file. Writing an email is stupid. I stuck a wiimote under his chair, and as soon as he sat down, the acceleration went berserk. Because he's a grown man, of course this chair will go down. Huh? So I wrote a little program. As soon as this goes out, pop up, X message, boss is in room. As soon as he stood up, acceleration went berserk again, upwards. Because you know the acceleration, the direction, I could tell, is he just moving around or is he actually standing up? And a little bit of sellotape, and you know if your boss is there. But
One standard in every chair.
exactly. I mean, how cool is that? How often do you, I don't know if you've got a brother or sister, how often do you run into his room just to annoy him and the door's locked because he's not there? You're like, oh shit. So just know if he's in his room, stick it to the door, and every time the door opens, you get a little X message coming up. And so I thought this a little bit further, and I thought it would be cool to track people with a Wiimote. And I found out that actually the distance is quite accurate. I used my Bluetooth in my handy to lock my computer as soon as I walked out. So if I walked out the door, I knew the Bluetooth would stop at some stage or be under a threshold, so I locked my computer. As soon as I entered the room, my computer unlocked again because my mobile phone was there. I thought we can do the same with a Wiimote. As soon as you walk away, it knows basically, okay, you've walked out of the range, whatever, locks the computer or whatever. But it's a circle. You know, I'm here, pretty much. It knows the distance. So I could position how much I run in a presentation. I could actually have a mile count because I know now I'm moving because I'm cutting through the circle. I know the 2 dots, I know the distance. Just imagine you know how many miles you've run throughout your presentation. Would be cool, wouldn't it? Could not go to the gym that day or something. So it's a local room positioning system, let's say. And here, there's not many areas I can stand in this distance because there are tables, walls, and whatever.
How about laser pointer emulation?
That's pretty much what we try to do with a mouse. But it's, yeah, I changed the mouse cursor to a big red dot, and then you move it around. And
But you use some of the buttons to increase the
yes,
radius.
true. Or you could use the infrared if you wanted to. You can involve the audience. At some stage, I want that everyone has a Wiimote. That would be cool, wouldn't it? You just carry your Wiimote with you. It's like, I don't know, like your phone or something. You could do handwriting. You could vote. Do you want the exam to be next Friday? Everyone press up on their Wiimote for yes, down, or A and B for yes and no. And because it's got, you can put something on it, you can actually have a key on it that will authenticate every user really having that Wiimote. You could have a public key on the Wiimote for every user, or a private key and encrypt, or whatever you want to do. And you would know that's that Wiimote for that user, and he's just pressed A. So you could do voting and hand raising. Someone who's got a question in the presentation could just lift his hand and press A, or its acceleration would even be enough. And you'd see, you'll get a vibrating Wiimote in your pocket saying someone's raised a hand. Especially if you've got these massive lecture theatres. That's quite practical because you don't look at the audience all of it all the time.
Did you like this presentation? You could say no.
Exactly. It would default to yes, of course. You could broadcast, if the speaker would work, you could broadcast what I'm saying to the speakers. I don't know if you've seen universities, but you get these massive university big halls thingies, and in the back you don't hear anything. They've got these speaker systems, but the lecturer always hits it, and it's stupid. Just imagine it's broadcasted on the Wiimote. I tried to get the speaker to be a microphone, but that doesn't work. You have to start soldering around, and I broke a Wiimote. And I'm not a good solderer. But that would be cool. If you could have apparently the next generation of Wiimote will have a microphone built in for the SingStar stuff.
Really?
Yeah. They've introduced this better motion acceleration a month ago or something. And that's more accurate because it's not really accurate. So for golfing and stuff, the acceleration data is now more accurate. But the next version, apparently, according to some insiders, will have a microphone in it, so you can sing with the Wiimote. So if it has a microphone and someone reverse engineers that, how cool is that? Speaking with your Wiimote has a microphone.
Karaoke.
Yeah, exactly. You could do lots of funny things. Locking the computer, that's the whole thing. I go out of the room, I lock the computer. Quite useless in a presentation, but maybe if you need the toilet and you run away, that no student goes up to your laptop and starts finding your exams. Disable screensaver, that's the whole my mobile phone thing, that as soon as you enter the room, it disables. And enable sound, I talked about that.
Yeah, well, I think we put it on the slide because I had a problem that my sound of my system was not on. It was completely turned down, and my battery was broke, so I didn't know that my battery was going down, and then finally it shut down because my battery was down.
So
And then the problem is, of course, if you don't take care of things like that, it's important that the solution, the WePress solution, also turns on the sound and also disables the screensaver so that you are not in a situation where you don't want to be.
I've got a bash script that does that. Basically calls alza config -enable whatever and kill all x screensaver. But basically, we want a project where this is actually maintained because yes, lots of people write a game for it, lots of people do something funky with it. But the whole problem with open source, what I see, is that you've got all these brilliant projects, but they're not maintained. You mail the developer and he says, fuck it, I'm doing another thing, I don't care. Or you've got, yeah, exactly. I've got projects, I have patch sets, and people say to me, oh, there's a new release, and I don't have time to patch it. It's just not possible. So I think if actually people would start using this to give presentations, that's something useful, that's something that people would spend money and time. If a company would start selling a software or publishing this, they would actually pay a developer to do this. I think this is something that actually, I'm not saying Linux is not usable, but that's actually something that I can see people really using, where there's a future in it. So the project, of course, we have to start it. It's on Google Code. What we've done so far, it's quite hackish, I have to say. Find people to help. That's you.
So you are maintaining it?
Sort of. Basically, when I give presentations, I use it. If I find an error, I will fix it, but I won't develop on it. I've got
That's okay.
I've got.
You answer emails. And
I answer emails. Yes, I answer emails.
That's enough.
If you find a bug, I will fix it.
The problem is that the library that you're using is not maintained,
Exactly.
and the library that I'm using, which is Python, is also not maintained. And
So you just became the new maintainers.
right,
No.
None of these do what all the things we want to do. So some of the things like the rumbling is not in the Python library, but I'm not sure that the X is the.
It works now. I did that now.
And
If it is maintained, use whatever the upstream maintainer does and send him patches
and the
and
code,
so on.
the code.
If it is not maintained, pull it into your code and you just became the new maintainer.
So I'm the new maintainer then. If you go on Google Code, I've got it.
Which library are you using?
CWIID.
All right.
But I want to use libwe. I want to extend libwe because it's a clearer design.
I would like
But you
to
will
Python.
maintain that.
I'm not quoting. I know someone's going to write me an email. You're the fucking maintainer of that. I will, if I have time, and if someone says, okay, I will do it. Yes, but it depends. I've got lots of other things to do. I mean, I really, I have a life, you know.
But my code based on WMD is available from the
Yes.
website. Your code is also available,
Exactly.
so people can start on that. If they want to use something that works, those things work, but don't do all the things that we would like to see.
I mean, I would love to have 3 really dedicated people that send me patches and we can interact, and you know, I would love to have that, but that's not how open source works, is it?
I guess the first thing is people using it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then, so something else, and then of course world domination and profit, like every project. And
Speaking of something else, how about other operating system support?
I
Is it Linux only or general Unix?
I started porting it to OpenBSD. I tried it a little bit, but that's because I live with an OpenBSD developer, and I wanted to go to OpenCon this year, but I don't have time. And
That's again the library.
It's
libraries
the
that we're
same-
going to use. I don't think that the current libraries are good enough.
It- it works. The mouse positioning doesn't work under Windows with Cygwin. I know someone who tried it, and he said,
I was more thinking of FreeBSD.
I don't know. Honestly, I don't know the Bluetooth stack in FreeBSD.
Yeah, it's different from Linux. So
Okay, then
Is it different from OpenBSD?
I don't know. Don't know the one in OpenBSD.
we can talk about this later. I mean, I'm happy to help like porting and this. So, and then we all code for fun and profit, obviously. What was that? Okay, so project details. This is a project we started, WePre. In the end, I want to rewrite. I want to take a good library, do everything nicely documented. All this is not really documented. You've got some people. It's really people sit down for a week, code it, and then go off and do something else. I want a developer base. I want something. But that's actually designed, not just some kid sitting in a dark room hacking up something. Oh shit, I forgot that. Something that's maintained. VMD. Those are all the libraries. The main ones you find. There are quite a few others, but those were the most complete, let's say. Now we need your ideas. And why is the email cut off?
Your screen is too big.
Okay.
Use the mouse cursor. And
If you would have come to my presentation yesterday, you would have seen that this is how you not do it. You do it in tech with Beamer.
Yes, that's what I do.
Huh?
That's what I do.
Exactly. Some people don't know, don't like tech.
You could have rewrote it.
Yes. As I said, I need that time is a issue. Yes, your ideas. Bombard me, please. Give us ideas. Ask us stuff. That's
Show the
Amateur. You don't
The
ask
one
for
with the-
ideas, you ask for patches.
no. I want ideas.
who's going to maintain it. And if nobody says anything, then I'm going to pick someone.
Have you looked at the SparkFun website, by the way?
What?
SparkFun. On SparkFun there's a website, and he apparently looks also into the speaker.
Yes. And another guy, I forgot his name, is looking to speaker too.
Okay.
There are quite a few people, but I mailed 2 and they didn't reply.
Just back to the previous slide with the URL.
Yes.
The speaker is not the most.
I will make these available online.
Information to me.
No, that's true.
As I said, if someone really wants to learn about a little bit about Bluetooth and how binary data is transmitted, it's a very simple hex sort of. You just send 0 and 1s over the line at the end. I'm more than happy to donate a wiimote and get you started and to play around if you really want to start playing around with it. And yes, questions, ideas. What else can you imagine doing? Yes.
Question. Marginal theory. First, what is Nintendo's reaction to all this stuff? And the second, if they've got a new version of the Wii mode, do you have to reverse engineer it again?
Okay, to the first thing, Nintendo doesn't say anything about it. I think Nintendo doesn't really care. I don't know. So
I would say it is twofold. Number one, Nintendo does not produce these things for $10. You can buy them for $10,
Yes.
but they make their money by selling games. They sell hardware at a loss. So anyone who makes a great project that is going to make them great hardware sales makes Nintendo losses. On the other hand, they don't want to be the company that is stomping down on this project and get all the bad PR. So the preferred method is to simply shut up and not release any specs and try to make life as hard as possible while not being explicitly unhelpful. That's the usual deal of any gaming company.
I don't care about Nintendo, to be honest.
Always they make Wiimotes.
They make Wiimotes, yes, that's good.
Yes, they do.
But I bought a Wii, I don't use it. And the second thing is, I don't think Nintendo would release something that's not backwards compatible. If someone has an old Wii and he buys a new Wiimote, they want it to work downwards. So I don't think if they enhance features like they did with the new acceleration thing, apparently that's fully backwards compatible to the Wii. So I don't think they will actually break their compatibility because they still make, the GameCube had this tied controller. The Wii still has the GameCube controller input. You can still plug a GameCube controller into your Wii. So I think this is quite important for Nintendo that everything's backwards compatible. So surely the new features might not be implemented, but the old features will keep working.
Show
the head tracking. Do you want to see the head tracking thing? If I can.
I will shoot you then.
Oh, thank you. Okay, the resolution is so small, I've got no idea what I'm typing.
Do you want to use a fixed one?
We have to, don't we?
I don't know.
Yes. Can someone read that? Yes, an error. Can you read that, Dag? So screen width minus W, I don't know, 800, 600. Frequency depth, I've got no bloody idea.
If you hit Control and the right mouse button, you can change the size of your font in the X term.
That's A term. Control right mouse button.
Okay, then you should bring the X term probably.
Doesn't look funky and green. Okay, so basically, does this work?
But is this
I
one
did
connected?
no.
You have to give.
Yes.
We can see something. So the whole thing that guy did, basically mount this to his head. And then as soon as you sort of move towards it, here's the whole infrared problem. Look, this is what controls your mouse pointer. And then look how it's jumping. And this is a standard setup, huh? So this is the whole... Nintendo did some very clever stuff on this. I looked at some Nintendo stuff, and it's very, very clever.
There's a simple solution to this. It's a standard sensor problem. If you get random noise on it, you for simple one interval, 1 segment glitches, you simply take 3 values. You
And
take
even
the
them out.
average, and whichever one is the furthest away from the average, you simply discard. So if
Okay.
you have a single glitch, it doesn't show up at all.
Yes.
If you have 2 glitches in a row, they happen. So take
okay.
the average of 5 or however
So-
much you want to
Yeah.
discard.
I know the new maintainer. So basically, this is the whole head tracking thing. And because through this, he knows where your eyes are, he can then render the 3D recording. But I haven't seen anything different except this. No one sat down and actually programmed Doom or something cool. No, I don't know why, but people
Morgen.
would 3D Mohun. You could kind of funky stuff. I'm not a big fan of the infrared stuff. The more I work with it, the more I hate it. The more I find it difficult, and I don't know.
I guess the library should actually
Do
filter out
exactly.
the noise.
Sorry.
Okay, thank you. I'll try that because that's quite easily done.
Yeah.
With this 3, that's
5 lines also.
yeah, exactly. Other questions? Good. Thank you for listening. And
Thank you.